What if burnout wasn't a problem to fix, but a signal guiding you toward deeper alignment with life? The Practice Podcast invites you to explore how aligning with your energy can transform your connection to yourself, your relationships, and your work. Through real stories, data-driven insights, and life-centered tools, each episode helps you tune into your body's signals and create life-affirming change from the inside out. Welcome to the Practice Podcast. Hello and welcome to the Practice Podcast. On today's episode, we are featuring a member, and this member is also a dear friend of mine, John Meek. Welcome, John Meek.
Thanks, Jess. Dear friend.
Let's be honest. I had to do a little bit of convincing to get you on today because this journey into energetic literacy, I think it can feel at times a little vulnerable, and at times it can feel like we really kind of want to master it before we talk about it. But you were so gracious and trusting as to make yourself available, because I think it is so compelling for anybody that's interested in growing and developing themselves with deeper energetic alignment. It's so much better to hear from the people that are in the work other than just myself and Christy. So thank you, brother, for coming on today and sharing your experience.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Didn't take too much convincing.
Okay.
Yeah, but a little.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did we ever master anything though?
I mean, this is a very good question. You know, would Bruce Lee say he was a master?
Probably.
Yeah, you think so? Well, maybe. So what you just experienced was something called the Practice 30-Day experience. And we have had a relationship probably for a year and a half now. 2 years?
Couple years.
Yeah. And we've really connected in more of the yoga space, by which then we developed a friendship, and then you started to learn more about what I was doing outside of a traditional yoga class. And it just seems like you already have the work. How I would define the work of energetic literacy is already alive and well inside of you. It's just, we've kind of formalized it. We've put some technology around it, but you've already been on the path. Would you say that's true?
I would say I've been on some sort of path, still figuring out what it is, but I think in the sense that if practicing energetic literacy allows one to feel good, I would say that I align with that from previous experience, just wanting to figure out how to be stoked in the world.
Yeah, just increase overall stoke level.
Real stoke. Like whole internal grounded stoke, you know?
Well said. Yeah, we call it the aliveness, but the stoke is the aliveness. Agree?
Yeah. But don't be fooled. I'm still trying to figure out how to make that happen. A lot of research, a lot of trial and error.
What's the percentage of stoke that you're currently experiencing in your life right now?
We were talking about sound pressure level with microphones earlier. How about stoke percentage level?
Oh, sure. SPL.
An actual number.
Like percentage. Like how often are we touching stoke?
I would say we're touching stoke every day, but it ebbs and flows, and sometimes it's a lot, sometimes it's a little bit. But recently, I have been, over the last maybe like 18 months, have been much better about intentionally contacting the stoke when I notice it's maybe not as high as it should be, you know.
And what has enabled that?
Being in touch with inner architecture and acknowledging the things that bring the aliveness and the stoke, and making an effort to do that stuff. So sometimes it shows up naturally. I'll have a day full of work or full of whatever it is that it wasn't necessarily so much like stuff you'd think would bring stoke, but it's like, hey, that was a great day. And then other days it's like, oh man, this is rough. Like, what do I got to do here? And yeah, go for a surf, get outside, go for a hike, be with friends. It sounds really like classic stuff, but making sure that it's like, your parents say, gotta eat your vegetables, making sure I eat my vegetables, as it were.
Yeah. Sometimes the stoke finds you. Other times you got to go find the stoke.
Yeah.
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 And this is why I say I think the work of energetic literacy, maybe not with its exact languaging, but the actual work has and was alive in you even before we met. You were on the path of discovering what it is to understand and manage and renew yourself. You refer to it as stoke because of the culture that you really immerse yourself and identify in. We talk about it as aliveness. In fact, I think it is the same thing. So that when I come to you and I start to talk about HRV and growing capacity and performing at high levels, you had a lean in quality. Tell me more quality. That's one of the things that I really appreciate about you is your curiosity and your ability to hold concepts and explore conceptually, but also you're pretty dedicated to showing up. Like I saw you more than a lot of people show up and hit your mat and do like willing to clock the time. And I want to acknowledge that in you because sometimes I don't see you always acknowledging it in yourself, but it really is. You show up, you clock the hours, and it's been for me an observation. You're learning how to like drop from overanalyzing into just more of those embodied states through your practice. So those are my observations. I would love to know from your perspective, though, what drew you into saying yes to a 30-day experience with us?
You said, when we first jumped on here a few minutes ago, you said, thanks for trusting me and trusting us to come on. I think there was an inherent level of trust, just from practicing with you, sharing, exchanging energy and information with you and all that stuff. And then I think also, ironically, as much as it's, we've talked about, I'm sure maybe we'll get into this, but like right brain, left brain being disconnected, the head space versus the body space. I think the idea of HRV and that it's not like, oh, what's the astrology doing today? Or what's, were there pigeons outside my window when I woke up or something like that? The HRV is real. Like our bodies are physical vessels in this space and they have a lot to say. And I think I was just curious to see what my body would have to say. And also in a place where, I really was curious to hear what my body had to say and how I could integrate that. And I think that there's like this knowing inside of me somehow that I oftentimes just like kind of muscle my way through life in a way. And I feel like there's a better way to do it. And I was just curious to explore and see what the data said, how I could integrate it into my life, and also just to participate in anything that you're doing.
Thank you, John. When you share, I hear HRV helps you kind of ground the greater exploration. It grounds the conversation in a way that maybe looking at, our astrology or just the symbology or going to other subjective measures to get information. It seems like there was something in the HRV that helped ground this self-discovery. Am I hearing you right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that science is spirituality, is technology, is all of these things. Our bodies are, it's all just compressions and rarefactions. The audio, the lights, the physical, all of that stuff is just waves moving up and down. And I think that's a really profound thing. And so I was, just really curious to see that data and really dive into the listening, you know, and say, hey, I think there's something that I'm not listening to that has potentially valuable information, is offering something valuable to me. This may be a really good way to try to like start listening to that conversation or that information.
See, even the way that you relate to it there shows me like an advanced. I know. You're funny with receiving compliments. But it is like the fact that you even refer to it as, oh, listening. Like a lot of people use HRV to optimize. It feels so action oriented where you're using it to listen first, which I think is it's a missing step in many people's plan. It's like they aren't listening to align. It's like they're listening to force an outcome, or they just are getting the data to force an outcome of some kind.
Well, that's what I mean, it's, you know, you take your HRV, oh, I have a push day. Oh, I'm just going to send it today, like end of conversation. I'm going to cross everything off my to-do list and tomorrow's to-do list today because I have a push day. I mean, I think that's part of it, is the action part of it. Like, what does action look like as a result of this information? But I also think, you know, I have a push day. Now that I know that, let me sit for 5 minutes or 2 minutes or something and close my eyes and check in and see what I'm feeling in the body. Does it align with that? Does it not? And yeah, not having it just be so outcome focused. Okay, cool. I got my energy status for the day and I'm going to act accordingly. I mean, obviously that's the goal, but I think that there's like an initial part too where it's the same thing as hearing new information from a friend or a partner or a colleague or something like that. They may ask you to do something and it may make sense, but usually it's a good idea to just sit with it for a little bit and like let it do its thing first, if that makes sense.
It makes total sense to me. It feels it feels in right relationship to the information. When you started to get on the consistent like habit and track of taking your HRV, explain to me maybe what you observed over the 30 days plus now. What has surprised you? What has impacted you in your own data by listening and just looking into the mirror of your nervous system through the Source app?
What I really noticed the most is that the days where there was misalignment between what my energy status was saying and how I was feeling. And then, feeling sometimes pressure to live up to that action-oriented outcome of like, oh, this is a push day, I need to push, but I'm absolutely smoked. Or it's telling me to maintain, but I want to go send it. And like wanting to crack that code and figure out how, I think it's likely that one might always or is going to inevitably be surprised by their energy status. But I really wanted to figure out how to get to that place where I was like, I felt integrated in what my energy status was saying, because it's my HRV. It's, it's my body. It's not, some person that's like looking at me in the morning and being like, I think that your aura is saying this today. This was real data. And just the discrepancy between sometimes how I was feeling physically and what my HRV was saying, or even mentally or emotionally. So I noticed that a lot. And then returning from travel, it was pretty much all recover days. And I don't know what to make of that yet. I mean, obviously it makes sense to recover from travel. So that was definitely really interesting. And then trying to, manage the action around, but without ignoring what the HRV was saying. So if there was work-related stuff that needed to get done, but I'm on a recover day, but it's like, this has to get done. And well, how do I manage that? And then on the more leisure, pleasure, business or travel part of this, it was, on days that was like a maintain day, but I wanted to go send like 3 surf sessions a day or something. Is that in line with my energy status? And does it support my overall well-being based on listening to my body? And yeah, really wanting to continue to dial those things in.
So discernment is so important. Understanding the flavor of excessiveness, not just in your score, but also set as a sensing, skill. Am I hearing you accurately?
Yeah, I mean, discernment is huge. I had a mentor share with me. This was actually in the context of like partnership and relationships, but he said, "Man, don't come home with an empty tank."
Oh,
Essentially,
well, that's for sure.
and
Yeah.
it's that kind of thing where if we think about like our relationship with ourselves,
Yeah.
my relationship with myself,
Yeah.
I can't come home with an empty tank for myself.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
I think that there's a tendency, especially for people that I don't even know if saying like want to be high performers or are high performers. I mean, it's a miracle that we're all even here, every single one of us. And so I think everyone is a high performer in their own way. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know. Maybe we'll cut that part.
Yeah, I love it.
But yeah, it's like, well, what am I leaving for myself, And it's like, well, but I'm the one out doing the work. I'm the one in my friendships and relationships. I'm the one, what do you mean for myself? And I think that there's, hopefully that makes sense, but it's like, am I burning through the tank down to empty every single day?
Talk to me about the takeaways. So you go through this 30-day experience. You are witnessing kind of your energy patterns, and you've created a baby baseline now. What are the takeaways that you are bringing forward?
Well, touched on this earlier a little bit, but the big takeaway was how bringing more alignment into what my body's saying versus how I'm feeling, or how I'm even perceiving that I'm feeling, and figuring out what either big or little shifts can happen there to integrate the information and really feel it. And then the other one is, so the other one is I saw actually something that Chad Smith, who's a drummer for the Red Hot Chili Peppers, posted like a couple days ago. And he's starting the Chad Smith Foundation, and it's to give kids access to music. I think just people in general access to music. And he said that the three things that really helped him be successful were early exposure to music, a good music program, and a supportive family. And he said not everybody has those things. And if we zoom out on that, or kind of copy paste that onto energetic literacy, I think that, we have a good program with Source. People have access to a good program, which is really good. Hopefully exposure as early as possible, but with the exposure and then also with the supportive family, I think about society being our family in a sense, and is the way that we're operating and our societal values the same way in a family. Hopefully maybe you have values, and those values as parents or as guardians or caretakers you want to instill into the young ones that you're looking after. And do we have a supportive global family? Do we have a supportive corporate family of living in this way? Like, hey, I really want to be a drummer, and my parents are like, yeah, go for it. Hey, I really want to be energetically literate and live in an integrated way that honors my work, but also my body and my energy. We don't really have a society or many workplaces that are saying, hey, yeah, go for it. It's like, well, we actually want you to do this. And, I want to be a drummer. No, we think you should be a lawyer, a doctor. I mean, that's very cliche, but that kind of thing. So just thinking about how this plays out and integrates outside of this bubble of trusted, amazing people when it's actually time to do this in real life. how to manage that. And so my takeaway is, just that I've been thinking about that.
Yeah. I love it. Everything that you just said encapsulates everything that I also see and the ways in which I want Source to grow. It is a family. Humanity is a family. And we're trying to change the norms of how this family operates. And I think what's really beautiful, something that I've taken great solace and comfort in, is that the ultimate objective of this older system, or maybe the old guard, they really want to create high performers. Energetic literacy is the way to create high performers, because when you learn these principles and how to sustain life force energy through the body mind vehicle, it will only benefit the organization in the long run. So to me, the possibilities are 100% there. We just got to get, again, people comfortable with meeting their own resistance is not a bad thing, but just as a punctuating marker that, there is, something new emerging that maybe has a little bit more complexity, but so much more to offer the whole. So thank you, John, for coming on. Thank you, John, for being a part of our small family, our small and growing family, and all that you contribute in your own thought leadership and in conversation around the topic, and your willingness and courage to live it as best as you can. That's all that needs to happen right now.
We're practicing.
We're practicing.
Yeah.
We're
Thank
practicing.
You.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you all for joining this edition of the Practice Podcast Member Spotlight. John Meek.
Ooh.
We'll see you guys next time.